This week, politicians are trying their hand at television presenting. I'm Patricia de Lille from the Democratic Alliance. My special guest this evening is Professor Jonathan Jansen. He is the former Vice-Chancellor of the University of the Free State. Welcome, Prof.
Good evening, Maya.
Prof, can you tell us, with so much money that we spend on infrastructure in our country, in our schools, why are our children still drowning in pit latrines?
Well, you know, when Trevor Manuel was minister of finance, he made a very important statement.
Yes.
And that statement was that, you know, education doesn't really need a lot more money.
Yes.
What it needs to do is to use the money that it has so that we're more efficient. So here's the problem. There's a huge amount of money, more than any other country on the African continent is spent year per capita, right, on kids.
Yes.
But before that money gets to fix the pit latrine or to create the toilets, there's corruption, there's inefficient management, there's bureaucracy, there's, just a lack of commitment, which underlies all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So though having the money is one thing, making it work for our people is another thing.
Yeah.
And that requires both the technical skills, let's not forget that, but also the value system, that says, I won't steal other people's money. I will make sure the children benefit. And unfortunately, on both those kinds of things, the commitment and the values, we've just broken down as a society. Yeah. And now, of course, a politician doesn't care about the kids in Bisho or the kids in Kailicha or the kids in Randburg because their own children are in the former white school, so they're sitting pretty, okay? Yes. And that's the major reason.
Now, Prof, another concern of mine, you get 8 out of 10 learners in grade 4 that when they get to that grade, they can't read and write properly. Is there something that we can do to make sure that the necessary skills are there that can help our children? Because, if they fail at that grade, the further they go, it just becomes more and more difficult. What is the solution?
Well, I take the long view as an education person. So I sort of say, you can't fix the system at university level. You can't fix it at high school level.
Yes.
You can't even fix it in the foundation phase.
Yeah.
The way to build a system from the bottom up is in preschool education.
Exactly.
That's where the gap opens up. So, a kid that goes to a good preschool, as you know, can already read and write, recite tables, say their name and predict their birth, that kind of thing. The kid who didn't go through that is hugely disadvantaged by the time they get to grade 1. Here's the really bad news. That gap never closes in the next 12 years of school. So I'm sort of saying, forget grade 4 reading.
Yes.
Make sure the kids can start to read, recognize words, say words, see pictures, associate a picture and a word. In the preschool years, you want to get this country up and running, make sure you have a solid foundation, not just of preschool, of quality preschool for all children.
I agree with you 100% on early childhood development, but also, Prof, what is the role of the parent? Our children spend 6 to 8 hours a day in school, but we need to get the parents' role clearly defined. So it's just not the teachers that must take responsibility for our kids, but parents must also play their role. What will you say to parents tonight? What must they do? Okay,
so I think there's 2 reality checks we must do here. The first reality check is you're right. Okay, so where there are parents, we must ensure that the parents take an interest in their children's education, even if you're not literate.
Yes.
You can still make sure, listen, I want you to see you sitting and doing homework. I want you to show me what you've written. Be involved in the education of the child. If you know that the teacher doesn't show up every day, go to the school, the way middle-class parents would do. Why is my kid not home early? Why is the principal not here? So I would say that is the first thing that we should do, say, take an interest in the children's education. But here's another reality, and that reality is it would be nice that every kid had 2 parents, and one was at home taking care of them, and there was money, Very often there's only one parent, often a working mother. Sometimes, as you know, with the child-headed households, there is no parent. Sometimes the gogo who is quite old is doing her best to do. So the ideal middle-class situation that we presume exists for all children is, of course, not true. In that case, the school has a huge responsibility responsibility, you know, not only to teach the children math and science, but also to be involved.
Prof, we put a lot of emphasis on higher education.
That's right.
Do you think higher education is affordable in our country?
I think it's affordable for the poor. I think we must not fall into the trap of some in the student movement who say everybody must get free higher education. First of all, there's no money for that. Second of all, that increases the inequality because the kid who's wealthy or middle class now has a further advantage over the kid who's poor. But it's perfectly possible within the fiscus to make sure that every poor and talented student who cannot go to university can be funded. That is possible. But the
I cannot let you go on this one, Prof.
The politicians are a bit dishonest, as you know. With the
I read your piece on Ashwin Willemse.
Yes.
And I must say it's very well written. What will you say to other young people out there? Because he's got that drive, you know, something is pushing him. In July, he will be getting his doctorate. And this is a role model for our youngsters. So what do you think more that we must do to get more role models like Ashwin Willemse to rise up in our communities and to become what he is today?
No, look, I'm a great fan of Ashwin, you know, even when he was playing right wing, you know, for the Springboks and so on. I'm not a Lion supporter, I'm a Blue Bull, but what the heck, you know, I think he's a great young man. Look, the big thing here is we need to not only get more role models, we need to tell young people to become confident in themselves. Don't let everything disturb you, you know. You know what Black consciousness was about? It's no longer perhaps as relevant today, but it had a relevance in sort of saying, you know, be proud of yourself. Be confident in yourself. Don't let other people define you as better or worse, you know. And I think if we get that right, we can win.
Prof, I really want to thank you for your insight. I like all the pieces that you are writing. Continue to write. I know you will not be retiring soon. We need more like you around in our country. But thank you for your contribution to our education in the country. It has certainly helped us to deal with the previous disadvantage and to begin to realize that all of us, we still have got a lot to do to get to equal education. But thank you for your contribution, thank you, Prof. Thank you. Well, that was Prof. Jansen talking to me about the state of education in this country. And when we come back, we'll take your calls. The number to dial is 011-759-6340. And